Today is everyone's favorite day of the week, and not because it's Friday, but because it is Buy Now Sell Now Paathshala Day, isn't it?
Absolutely, and as always, Kunal is going to be telling us what are we learning today? Gap up, Kunal, I've heard about it, but what is it that in detail that we should know about gap up? What is it on the technical terms?
Well, absolutely yes. Friday being one of the best days, and no complaints when the markets have hit 23,000, of course. So today's topic for Paathshala is very interesting, and it tells you a sense of stocks getting into a second leg of a breakout. So we see that stocks generally get into a phase of consolidation, then a slow pickup of price action, and then all of a sudden there is a hurried price action which happens for the stock, and that's where these formations they tend to pop up on the chart. So that's one of the key patterns, which is gap up. Now, interestingly, I've taken two examples. One of them is a very interesting example, which in the recent past indicates that the stock had gone through a very slow gradual uptrend. But the moment the stock had seen a gap up, we look at the first chart over here, the stock started to show signs of a very strong uptrend for itself. And that generally happens at a point when the stock gets into a very strong uptrend, then a mild phase of correction. If you can look at the first chart over here in terms of the gap up. So this is the first chart, which is Samvadna Motherson. The stock getting into a breakout mode. As you can see that the stock was going into an uptrend. This was the gap which the stock had formed in the month of July. Post that gap, the stock went into an uptrend. Interestingly, this gap became a major support for the stock, and even when the stock got into a phase of correction, you see the gap acted as a major support point, which is closer to this 85 mark, and from there the stock started to launch a new trend for itself and then moved up higher to now levels of 135 to 140. So this gap forms as a major zone that the stock breaks out, and in case if there is any kind of a major correction post that, this gap acts as a major support for itself. Now we look at another example over here in terms of gap up, how the stock gets into a strong uptrend, and that's no exception. Chart like Hindustan Aeronautics, which you've seen over the last few months, scale to from levels of 2,500 to now almost 5,000 plus mark. So this was the gap which the stock had formed over here. The stock got into a very strong uptrend from 3,200 levels. Very swiftly the stock moved up by a margin of 10%. This gap acted as a major support. There was a minor correction, but this gap was unfortunately not filled. Now interestingly, the second rather in this phase of consolidation, as you can see that the stock remained into a tight range of consolidation. But the moment we saw the stock forming a gap over here, you see the pace of rally for the stock, and this gap acted as a zone where the stock breaks out of a consolidation and starts off a major uptrend for itself. So now on the way down, in case if there is any kind of a correction for the stock, this zone of 4,000 and the gap for the stock would act as a major support. So that's the importance of gap ups, especially when a stock starts to get into a zone of consolidation and then all of a sudden a fresh breakout for itself.
All right, that's something new that we've learned in this episode of Buy Now Sell Now Paathshala, and that is the entire topic about gap up.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.